Well, hi there, Trekkers and Trekkies. I didn't see you come in. Well, before we start this video, I wanted to tell everybody thank you. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Thank you for checking out my channel. I'm glad to have so many new people jump on lately. This has been cool. Keep it up. Stick with me. We're going to get Deep Space Nine built, and it's going to be awesome. All right, let's get into it. As we jump into it, I have printed out the walls that I'm going to be using to make the replimat, or what I had at the time planned on being the replimat. Lining them up on the wall, measuring it out, and deciding where I want stuff to be placed and lined up, and measuring the floor so that it would line up with the inside, and how I was eventually going to be placing the replimat floor on the outside, which I have admittedly, since making this, have kind of changed my mind and decided that's not going to be the replimat. We're going to move the replimat to the outside wall, and that will be the Ferengi, I think it's called the Ferengi Commerce Exchange or something to that effect. It's basically the Ferengi ATM that's outside of Quarks. I was also cutting the opening for where Garrick's is going to go. And this is me measuring the inside walls. Like I said, I've printed a lot of this stuff out, did Photoshop and printed it out so that I can use it for actually measuring, especially the width of stuff. I'll be going back in and making up heights completely different from a lot of this stuff, because I've made each floor a little oversized, because I do plan on going in and putting a slightly dropped roof where I want to put some lights in if I can. So that's a goal. And this is where I'm measuring out the floor for that little extension of Quarks that's going to stick out the back, doing some rough measurements there and figuring out how that's going to be measured, and then using that to gauge the floor for what I was planning to be the replimat. It's now going to be the ATM area, because it actually is going to work out better. You'll see. That'll be in a future video when we get to that. But here I'm cutting out this main piece of the floor, and then I'll be getting prepared to make the secondary step, because that was the thing. Both on the replimat and on the ATM, they have a little step up, and I didn't realize that these cardboard pieces weren't quite glued together. So here in a minute I'll have to re-glue them, because on the edges they're glued together, and they're glued together so well I couldn't pull them apart in any way. But on the inside they weren't glued at all, so gotta glue those together. Not a big deal. Makes for a great step for the floor. Just gotta make sure it's held. This is me cleaning up the edges so that I can then measure it to make that step up. You'll see I'm kind of looking at it, using a figure to actually decide about how deep do I want the step to be. So figuring it out, this takes me a minute to actually figure out exactly what I want to do, and then lining it up to the back edge, drawing that line back there, and then figuring out where the side of the Quarks bar is going to be, getting a straight line drawn on that, and making sure that's good and clean. So yeah, then I'll get that glued on there, and I'll get that under some weight so that can start. Oh, that was just me cleaning up a piece of cardboard that had kind of frayed and was sticking out. But yeah, and of course, same thing. These two pieces of cardboard that were part of that lid of that box weren't actually glued up in the middle, and I had to get it all held together. So now I am actually going to, this is me measuring out for what will be the roof of the Quarks bar stick out section, but will be the floor of Garrick's little kiosk that I'm putting above Quarks bar. And I am making it so it sticks back a little ways. I do kind of change that up a little bit, but not by much. But it's just so that I can eventually be able to connect it up with the piece that'll go on the inside for making the upper floor of the bar on the inside. Yes, and I make sure to write stuff down so that I remember what I'm doing, where it's going, and blah blah blah. At this point, I think this is where I'm working on the. I can't remember if this is me doing the inside wall or the outside wall. I guess it's the inside wall. I'm watching this and not remembering. I know at one point I wasn't paying attention, and this is me trying to measure out where the column was supposed to be. So, anyways, I wasn't paying attention. Here in a few minutes, we're going to have to do a jump because I bumped. You see, the camera's already shifting to the right quite a bit, and you're looking more at my desk than you are at the work table. And I do apologize for that. But at some point here in a moment, it's going to be so bad that you're not seeing anything I'm doing. So we'll do a jump there when we get to it. And I'll try and explain what happened while the camera was away. But this is measuring the column and the little wall piece, the little half wall, where there will be some bar. And because that does have that smooth stuff on it, I'm giving it a slight sand just to make it so that the glue will stick to it. And getting these all glued up. And then putting them in place. Well, getting them glued up and then getting them to sit for a few minutes. And yeah, this is where I wanted to put a little partition wall between the Replimat and going to be the outside wall, but now it'll be the ATM area and the Replimat on the outside wall. So that's what this is. This is me making just this little partition style wall with a sort of I use the two pieces to make it just have a sort of artistic, or I should say aesthetic flair to it. That will go on the end of the those stairs where I have the Replimat at, separate the backside from the left side of the diorama. So here I'm now trying to get the stairs set up for the to attach to the wall. Realize that there's a little bit of an overhang here, and I need to just trim that off so that it's not so much. Of course, I'm going to be cutting off more from this in the future, but it's fine. So, yep, getting that lined up. And I'm going to put a little tape in place just to secure it while I'm getting the glue in. I'll do the same thing on the other side and get the wall put in place and just hold it for a few minutes while the glue. Yeah, see here I'm finally getting the tape just to hold it in place. The tape is still going to be there when we get done underneath everything, but it's just to help hold it temporarily until we get the more permanent hold stuff in place. So, yep, getting that wall positioned. Now I'm going to get the little half wall positioned with the column. And then the outside wall, same thing. That'll be that wall that has that little video monitor eventually that's next to Cork whenever he leans out that window on the backside. And then finally getting the platform for Garrick's lined up. Oh, no, I guess I'm going to do the sidewall. I had, because that was where I had bumped the camera and completely gotten it looking at my desk and you weren't seeing anything. So yeah, here's me putting that partition wall in between the back and the side, and also getting the wall for Quarks positioned so that it's all held together. And I don't. This is the bad thing about video recording and then going back and recording the audio, is trying to remember what you did as you're watching what you do. Yeah, so here I am getting Garrick's ready. I realized that little piece sticking out was not helpful in any way, and that the front edge actually stuck out a little bit too much. So, again, I bumped the camera, and y'all are barely seeing what I'm doing, but this is me getting the floor for Garrick's in place, and fixing the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. And I know it looks a little bit wonky here, but you will see that it's going to look, that when we get done, it'll all be a little flatter, a little more even. That was me getting the column from Quarks in place, and then just using my wharf to do some testing. Realized that floor was still a little bit loose, and so I needed to get some glue on that. And checking, and I like it. And here's where I'm going to take, and I'm going to put some little side column pieces on Garrick's on the outside, just to, this is where I put the other half wall for Quarks. But I am going to add some little partition walls on the outside of Garrick's that they're just kind of low, just to sort of indicate the idea of walls. It's one of those things that you see done on a whole lot of the old play sets. Can't think of one offhand. And eventually I do need to go in and add a slight drop down at the top of Quarks on the little piece that sticks out up there. Because it's flat to that roof, which of course, like I said, I'm going to do a drop down roof eventually, and so that means that it'll look strange if I do that. What we have done today is we focused on the replimat. I've got two little steps that come up here. This will be the wall that has the replicator. This will be the wall that has the display. I did throw in a divider wall on this side just to break it up. I'm not completely sure. I'm thinking I'm probably going to put the entrance for the Bajoran Temple here. It'll just be a fake sticker kind of thing. Then around here is the back of, or the window for Quark's bar. Gonna need to make a sort of a little bit of a bar platform here. And of course there's the entrance door. Angle's a little bit different, but then up here is the platform that'll stick out for Garrick's clothers. Still trying to decide on a few things about that. I'm probably going to add a little triangle right here just to help it blend into the rest of the wall. But yeah, and it'll also kind of make it where it looks a little safer for the figures to be standing up there, and it's not just a platform for them to fall off of. Might do a little rail type of thing on this side. Definitely going to leave these two sides open. Probably going to put some kind of little trim piece up here at the top of the Quarks bar to blend it in as well. So next we'll be working on the interior second floor and getting that to connect up with Garrick's as well as the top floor of the bar. But yeah, that is, here, let me give you a shot of the profile, I'm actually quite happy that the platform doesn't stick out, but maybe about an inch or so more than the top floor of the wardroom that will be up here. Cutting out the window, or windows, I should say. There'll be at least 2 windows up here for the wardroom when we get done. But that is where we are at with that today. I hope you've enjoyed, and maybe you're doing something you're on. And like I said, probably 2 windows, because see, if I'm just going to go ahead and throw this. If I think that the windows are about the size of this roll of duct tape, which I think is a good size, it's about up to Worf's shoulders, and I could probably do 2 windows like that, so it won't be as big as a crew quarters or the wardroom, because wardroom has 5 windows, crew quarters have 3 windows. Won't be that big, but it'll be okay. It still gets the idea across. So that's probably what I'm going to go with on that. I need to do some tests, figure out some stuff on it. But yeah, so that's where we're at, Mr. Worf. Is it looking okay to you? Yeah? All right. He says it looks fine. All is fine. It's my fucking figure. You. Anyways, thank you, and I'll see you next time. Go out and make something. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon, or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?